The NFL will investigate whether suspended Raiders linebacker Aldon Smith violated the rules under which he hopes to apply for reinstatement to the league, a source telling ESPN's Ed Werder. After an online video showed an unidentified man and woman talking about a hand-rolled cigarette. The video was posted through a Periscope account Smith has used many times in the past. Neither Smith nor the woman appear on the video, which cuts off after the man says, quote, "They don't know it's me. It's not like I put Aldon Smith." Smith is serving a year-long suspension for violating the NFL's substance abuse policy. He's eligible to apply for reinstatement in September. Stephen A., if this is him on this video, your reaction, friend?
The operative word is if. We do not know. We certainly don't want to convict him in a court of public opinion, although he does look very guilty. And obviously in our system, regardless of how anybody wants to try to avoid that issue, your history plays a role in how you're perceived and how you're ultimately judged. And that's something you have to fend off and fight through. But in an issue of fairness, in the interest of fairness, we will use the operative word if here because it's important. If he is guilty of such a thing, if this is him in this video, I think he should be banned from the NFL. I think the crime should be stupidity. You know what I'm saying? There should be a category of flagrant stupidity added. The NFL should get with the NFLPA, and they should put a category in the collective bargaining agreement, you know, that Roger Goodell should oversee.
Call it
and
the Aldon Smith rule.
Flagrantly stupidity. Aldon Smith, the Aldon Smith rule. Flagrant stupidity. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, let's make sure, because I'm going to read this because I want to make sure, Max, Molly, I want to make sure I don't trip up here, okay? It says here, Smith was given 3 years of probation in July of 2014 following convictions for drunken driving. By the way, if you remember that, Max, he was drunken driving at 7 in the morning. I mean, it's when kids are going to school. This is when kids standing by the trees, you know, chilling in the shade in Northern California. Yep. That's when he was driving. One late at night, 2 o'clock in the morning. So not that you condone it there, because you never condone.
No, I don't play. I got a family. I got my kids in the car.
How about that? Yeah. But check this out. This is in the morning when kids could be standing at bus stops ready to go to school. That's when this dude was behind the wheel of a car drunk, according to the reports, okay? So we got the conviction of the drunken driving and possession of assault rifles, okay? His August arrest was his 5th. 5 times. 5. I want not to. Clearly, this isn't baseball because 3 strikes and you out. Oh, no, this is football. It's 5 times. 5. He's been arrested, right? Finally led the 49ers to drop him. Now we know about the 42 sacks in 43 games. You know about the 47.5 career sacks. After recording 3.5 for the Raiders in 9 games during last season, got suspended in November for the year. You're suspended. You're not eligible to come back until November. The Los Angeles Raiders, who haven't had a winning record in a decade, even though Reggie McKenzie, I do believe, has turned things around. They are moving in a forward direction. Khalil Mack is the deal. Derek Carr, Amari Cooper is the stud. We all know that the Raiders are moving in a forward direction. And this dude is supposedly on the video. And this is where the stupidity comes in. This is why I feel so adamant about this flagrant stupidity and how that should be added to the collective bargaining agreement. Here's why. According to the reports, while we don't see the face of Aldon Smith, although it's his account, we don't see his face, but you see a woman saying you shouldn't be doing that. You certainly shouldn't be doing that. And he's like, what you tripping for? I'm paraphrasing here, of course. What you tripping for? They don't see me. Nobody's going to see that it's Aldon Smith. So you hear somebody talking, saying that nobody's going to see that it's Aldon Smith. Oh, no, Aldon, we just heard that it's you. We didn't see it, but we just heard that it's you. So again, if this is true, he should be banned for stupidity. The entire 2016 season. And literally somebody should say to him, you are banned because you're stupid. Literally, if that's the case. Because it's almost like the dude that robs the store and you come in there with the same outfit on and then you leave and then you turn around and the only thing that's different on you is a little mask that you put on to cover your face, but you're still wearing the same outfit.
You sound like you got caught robbing a store.
No, my mom, it's a true story. My mama was on jury duty years and years ago, and the dude literally came into the store, talked to the store owner, left. 5 minutes later, came back with the same exact outfit on with a mask. Nothing else was different on him, just a mask.
Look,
but it wasn't him.
Look,
Stop.
I like the stupidity rule. If it's him, if, as you say, it's him. First of all, can we call it what it is? That's not a rolled cigarette. That's a blunt.
Yeah.
You saw, I mean, if you've watched the video, there's a blunt.
That's
and
right.
you see a woman saying, hey, don't do it, you're going to get in trouble, like, as you said, 3 times, and the response you hear is, you're stupid, telling the person that you're stupid. It's not like I'm here saying it's Aldon Smith.
Yes.
I mean, so in a sense, it's actually a very good advertisement against drugs. Like, this is the effect of weed on your brain, of prolonged exposure to marijuana on your brain. I understand all that, but I'll say, and there's no, I mean, like, if you have whatever you think about marijuana, it shouldn't be a Schedule I drug and all these kind of things, but if your addiction is that severe that with your career on the line, you can't stop yourself, you obviously have a problem. However, why is the NFL testing for marijuana at all? Why? That's a choice they're making. This is a league that is in bed with companies that peddle alcohol. They're sponsored by companies. They're sponsored. They take money from companies that say, here, drink this. In every objective study ever done, the effects of alcohol, certainly the societal effects, objectively are always worse than marijuana. I mean, if the threshold is alcohol, why is the NFL choosing to test for marijuana? Now, I understand it is a Schedule I drug, which is absurd on its face. And I'm certainly not condoning the abuse of drugs, etc. But the fact that the NFL chooses to do that is at the very least hypocritical. They don't have to make that choice. They don't have to do that. They choose to test for it. It's not a performance enhancer. And, well, it's illegal. Let me explain the difference. I've heard this a lot. It's illegal. Well, there are various racist and xenophobic reasons why Harry Anslinger promoted the fact that prohibition should remain. I mean, there's really, if the NFL is taking a, pardon the pun, sober look at the situation, they wouldn't be choosing to test for it in the first place.
Do me a favor for our viewers out there that may not know, and for clarification for my purposes, Schedule I drugs?
Schedule I drug are like the worst of the worst, and, you know,
got you.
I believe heroin and things like this.
Let me respond to what you said. First of all, you're pointing out the hypocrisy on the part of the NFL.
Right.
We don't disagree. They're clearly hypocritical. We all understand that. We must also understand that those who, you know the golden rule, those who have the gold make the rules. We may not like it, but it's the reality.
Right.
Clearly, there's business in alcohol because it's legal. It may not be legal to consume it in excess to the point that you become inebriated and you are harmful to the general public, right, by getting behind the wheel of a car.
40,000 alcohol-related deaths.
Without question. The flip side to it is that unless weed is condoned for medicinal purposes, you know, legal in like 23 to 26 states. I believe the last report that I read, for the most part, in half the states anyway, it's still illegal, even though California, I remember Schwarzenegger when he was the governor, was trying to get it legalized.
He plays in California.
There you go.
You know, like there are states in which it's totally legal. He plays in a state in which it's legal for medicinal purposes.
Right.
Certainly the kind of societal sanctions against it, social sanctions against it, are much different now than they used to be. Now, in his case, if we're talking specifically about him, and you're not on a soapbox talking about the issue, then clearly he's actually an example where it makes some sense. Because as you mentioned, it's if it's him in the video, he's failed. He's paying a stupid tax.
That's right.
You know, so, and I get that, and it also shows that he may really have a problem with addiction, etc. So maybe he's not the best example of it. However, this particular issue wouldn't be coming up right now if they simply didn't test for it.
That's true, but the flip side to it, Max,
not a lot of NBA players getting suspended for this.
Wait, I feel you on that.
I don't think there's any less use.
Yeah, well, I don't think. You think, but do we know? Do we know? We don't know. We don't know. You understand what I'm saying? Plausible deniability. Remember that phrase. I'm going to use it a lot on this show. Here's the deal. I get what you're saying. The flip side to it is that you're talking to a guy that was once at an NBA game, and I certainly won't say the player's name because I won't do that to him. This many years ago when I was covering, and this was another team. It wasn't the 76ers. And a dude walked to the scorer's table, and the coach called out a play. And he was known as a weed user. And the player literally looked at the coach and went like this. Huh? You know, look, alcohol isn't the only thing that could lead you a bit off kilter.
Sure.
Certainly weed does. When you consider the complications that we have been taught come along with football, how cerebral of a sport it is. These are not guys that are dummies. These are guys that are preoccupied with football more than they're preoccupied with other things. But it takes a level of intellect to play a lot of positions in the sport of football. You can't have somebody that's impeded in any way.
Then how? Well, okay, fine. But that should show up in his performance. And if he's getting on average a sack a game through his NFL career, then clearly it's not hurting his performance. I mean, I understand that. And by the way, kids, stay away from all this stuff.
Stay away
okay?
from it. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that.
But however, there is a level of hypocrisy here in the NFL. They're choosing.
So what you're advocating?
And if they didn't take the money of beer companies, so when you're watching the game at the commercial break, you're seeing this being peddled, then I would say, okay, the NFL is taking a righteous stand here, and they have a very low threshold for this kind of stuff. But that's not the case.
But what you're saying then is this: you're saying that just like weed isn't allowed, alcohol shouldn't be allowed. You're saying that the NFL shouldn't do business with beer distributors?
No, I'm not saying that at all. In fact, what I'm saying is they shouldn't be testing for marijuana. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know about that.
I want to add one thing there. The NHL does not test, and Major League Baseball only tests with probable cause, and obviously the NFL does regularly. But I think the big lesson for me here, forget moral police on smoking weed or not, don't videotape yourself. Don't post this to the internet.
That's a good point. But I would
None of us would have seen that.
But I would say...
Don't say it's you.
But time out.
Don't put your name on it.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But I would go a step further when I say stay off the weed. Listen, I know Snoop Dogg and various others who are unapologetic about the fact that they smoke weed, okay? Nobody's judging them but so much. You know why? Because it's not hurting their wallets. In the case of NFL players, whether you like it or not, the rule is the rule. And when you consider the fact that Aldon Smith has lost millions because of something like this, this is why I will go back to my original point. Stupidity, a category of stupidity should be implemented into the collective bargaining agreement.
And furthermore, if we're talking about the case of Smith, if it is him, then you see that there's a problem with addiction. And this goes for anything in your life. There are various things you can be addicted to. I don't care what people say about, well, marijuana, the medical properties of it, it means that you can't be addicted. Clearly, people can overdo it, and they can become dependent upon it. And that if this is him, it clearly seems to be the case with him. Why else would you jeopardize tens of millions of dollars and the rest of your professional career at least if you didn't have a problem? I mean, it clearly indicates a problem.
And he was one of the best young pass rushers in the league. I mean, he was 7th overall pick. It's a top talent.
You got to go get yourself some help, though, because we can't feel sorry for everybody that makes these stupid decisions where they get to lean on an addiction. Guess what? You can't get addicted to something you never tried, and there's enough information out there for you not to try it. Now, the bottom line is if you are a professional athlete in the sport of football primarily, because that's what we're talking about right now, you know it's going to be to your detriment to even use that stuff. So why bother? Whereas somebody else, while we're not advocating that anybody use it, in the end, it's your business, it's your life. Do what you want to do, because it ain't costing you money. In the case of Aldon Smith, damn it, it's costing them money.
And again, don't share it on the internet. Unnecessary. I will leave you with that.
Don't leave your fingerprints everywhere.
You don't need to share everything and put a name tag to it. All right, when we come back, a very serious subject. Ezekiel Elliott accused of domestic violence. The guys will react to the news coming up next.